Lying is one of the oldest and most widespread human behaviors. Long before we learn to read or write, we begin to lie. A 2 or 3-year-old child can already say, "I didn't do it," even when caught with chocolate all over their hands. This is not because children are inherently deceptive, but because lying is a deeply rooted survival skill. It allows us to protect ourselves, avoid conflict, manipulate, influence, and in some cases, even express care. Lying is not always about deceiving with malice. Often it's a defense mechanism, a way to handle social complexity, protect others' feelings, or avoid immediate danger. Psychology helps us understand the spectrum of lies, from harmless white lies to pathological deception, and teaches us how to detect them and respond. Psychologists have identified several core motivations behind why people lie. First, to avoid punishment. This is one of the earliest reasons children lie. They learn quickly that telling the truth can bring consequences, and lying may save them. Second, to avoid conflict. People lie to spare others' feelings, smooth over awkward social situations, or escape confrontation. Third, to gain a benefit. These lies are strategic, manipulative, and goal-oriented. Fourth, to preserve one's image. In professional or social contexts, people often exaggerate accomplishments, minimize mistakes, or hide flaws to appear competent or likable. Fifth, to control others or situations. Lies can be a power tool, shaping perceptions and decisions. Sixth, out of habit. Some people lie compulsively, often without a clear reason, simply because dishonesty has become ingrained in their behavior. Lies come in different forms. There are outright lies, where the person consciously and intentionally distorts the truth. There are lies of omission, where key details are deliberately left out. There are benevolent lies, so-called white lies, told to protect someone's feelings. And there is self-deception, perhaps the most complex form of lying, where a person convinces themselves of a version of reality that isn't true. This type of lie blurs the line between belief and falsehood and can be the hardest to detect and address. Modern neuroscience has helped us understand the cognitive and emotional complexity of lying. Functional MRI studies have shown that deception activates multiple brain regions, including the prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning and decision-making, the anterior cingulate cortex, involved in error detection and emotional regulation, and the amygdala, associated with stress and emotional arousal. This suggests that lying requires mental effort. To lie effectively, a person must know the truth, construct an alternative version, remember their story, monitor their own behavior, and anticipate the response of others, all in real time. Despite common belief, there is no foolproof way to detect a lie. However, there are behavioral and physiological cues that can indicate deception. Non-verbal signs include frequent blinking, micro-expressions, brief, involuntary facial expressions that reveal true emotions, touching the mouth or neck, asymmetrical facial movements, or compressed lips. These are often subtle and require trained observation. Verbal signs include vagueness or evasion. Kind of, I think it was. Repetition of the question, over-explaining with excessive details to seem more believable, and distancing language, such as avoiding personal pronouns. Someone took it instead of I took it. Physiological indicators might include increased perspiration, voice pitch changes, and faster heart rate, though these can also signal anxiety or stress unrelated to deception. Many myths surround the detection of lies. For instance, if someone avoids eye contact, they must be lying. In reality, some liars overcompensate by maintaining too much eye contact. Another myth is that polygraphs are completely reliable. While polygraphs measure physiological changes like pulse, respiration, and skin conductance, they cannot differentiate between lying and fear, excitement, or nervousness. Some people can beat the polygraph by controlling their physiological responses. Lastly, it's often believed that liars always look nervous, but experienced or pathological liars can be calm, confident, and charismatic. The science of deception has been rigorously studied. Psychologist Paul Ekman, famous for his work on microexpressions, demonstrated that brief emotional expressions, often lasting less than a second, can betray a person's true feelings, even when they are trying to hide them. Aldert Vrye's research has shown that increasing a person's cognitive load, asking them to tell their story backward, for instance, makes lying more difficult and increases detection accuracy. A meta-analysis by Bond and DePaulo revealed that the average person is only slightly better than chance at detecting lies, with a success rate of about 54%. This means we often rely on intuition or stereotypes, which aren't always reliable. To get better at recognizing deception, it's important to establish a person's baseline behavior, how they normally act, speak, and gesture. This gives a reference point for detecting anomalies. When a sensitive or unexpected question causes a deviation, such as stuttering, shifting posture, or inconsistent eye contact, that's when closer attention is warranted. Observing mismatches between verbal and nonverbal signals is key. For example, if someone says, "I'm fine," while frowning and crossing their arms, it raises suspicion. Cognitive load techniques, such as asking the person to recount details out of order or explain the same story in different ways, can reveal inconsistencies. Learning to recognize micro-expressions, though challenging, significantly enhances lie detection and has been used in security and law enforcement training. Examples from everyday life abound. In politics, candidates often avoid giving direct answers and rely on scripted phrases or emotional appeals. Watch closely and you'll notice a pattern: polished delivery, avoidance of specifics, and rehearsed empathy. In relationships, the classic "I'm okay" often hides discomfort, hurt, or resentment, especially when paired with closed-off body language. In sales, an overly confident tone and reluctance to provide direct answers about product flaws may signal dishonesty. From an ethical standpoint, it's important to note that not all lies are harmful. Sometimes lying protects someone from emotional pain, avoids unnecessary conflict, or serves as a social lubricant in complex interactions. The key is intention. Are you lying to help or to manipulate? Are you hiding truth to protect someone or to control them? Being aware of the line between compassionate tact and strategic deception is essential. Understanding the psychology of lies is not about becoming paranoid or manipulative yourself. It's about increasing your emotional intelligence and social awareness. The more you understand human motivation, emotional cues, and behavioral patterns, the better you can navigate communication, relationships, and decision-making. Lying reflects fear of rejection, punishment, loss, or vulnerability. But when you learn to look beyond words and listen to the full message, tone, gesture, silence, you gain a deeper understanding of people and their truth. In conclusion, lies are not just distortions of facts, they are signals, expressions of deeper needs and fears. To become more truthful yourself, it helps to recognize the lies you believe, the ones you tell, and the ones you allow others to feed you. Truth, when spoken with empathy and courage, builds stronger trust than any perfectly delivered lie ever could.